Okay, Mike Murphy, A2PE, G454. Okay, Mike, from the clip you just watched, can you describe all the major strengths and weaknesses of the performer, prioritise the major weakness, and create an action plan to improve the performer? Where possible, use scientific, psychological and sociological theory to support or evaluate your points. Okay, good luck.
So after looking at the clip, the performer that I'm looking at is the opening batsman with the green helmet. Firstly, a strength in terms of the skills that I noticed was a flick leg side shot. This was used along the ground and over the top of the field. This was good in terms of a skill because when the actual ball was bowled, the front foot was in line of where the ball was, his head was in line with where the ball, so he was in control of the shot, and also he used his wrist very well to manipulate the ball to go from straight down middle wicket towards leg side. Also, another strength skill wise was the front foot defence. This was a strength because again the front foot and the head was in line. More importantly though, when he was playing the front foot defence, the ball wasn't going in the air. This was due to the front foot, the actual flexion of the knee. This was good as the body weight was over the ball. In terms of flexion of the knee, this is where the knee is a hinge joint where there's concentric contraction and tension is produced to shorten the muscle, which allows the joint movement. And like I said, this occurs at the hinge joint, and the muscles involved around this are the biceps femoris, the semitendinosus and the semimembranosus. So that was a good skill from the performer. A weakness in terms of skills was the front foot drive. Even though the actual basics of the front foot defence was good, the front foot drive was lacking in terms of skill. This was because when he was actually playing the shot, the head and the foot was in line, but sometimes the ball actually went outside the outside edge of the bat. So this meant that when he was actually playing the shot, he was actually turning his body a little bit, so he was front on. What this did was it meant that his actual front elbow, he wasn't actually pointing to the line of the ball and where he actually wanted to hit the ball in line. So he played the shot and then actually turned, so this would in effect square him up, and because of this it could cause edges towards the slip area. Another weakness was his speed and also agility. This is in terms of him running between the wickets. So sometimes he'd play like a back foot drive or a back foot punch, where he'd pick the gap and there'd be scoring opportunities. So when he was running between the wickets, his speed and agility wasn't that good. He seemed to be jogging sometimes, and when he got to the actual popping crease, his actual agility to turn with the bat and turn again just didn't set him off for the next run. So when he was running between the wickets, he was lacking in that. For this running between the wickets, it would have been used the ATP PC system, which would be producing 2 ATP, and which is for short duration and high intensity performance. So the short duration is the length of the wicket, which is 22 yards, which is very short, and the high intensity, which he lacked from running from one end to the other, and the agility to turn around and be ready for the next run. A strength tactically, coming from the flick leg side shot, was that he was hitting the ball over the top of the fielders, in particular mid-wicket, more mid-wicket and square leg. Therefore it shows that his awareness as well of that the fielders are inside the circle, so it's a good scoring opportunity for him to hit over the top and score boundaries rather than trying to pierce the gap along the ground, which he tried to do sometimes, but he did put himself out to try and hit over the top, which are good scoring opportunities. And also because of this, he manipulated the field very well, because once he did play the shot a few times over the field, it meant that the square leg or the mid-wicket region would move back towards the boundary, so then he could get a quick single again. So he was playing very sensibly. because of this, and he was manipulating the field. He was using the actual the rules of within the game. So the rules of within the game of cricket is that you have to have 4 men within the circle at all times. So as square leg and mid wicket, it had to be in the circle, as the captain chose that them 2 men had to be in the circle. This shows that there has to be rules within the game. This can be related to the history of cricket, where patronage gentry, they actually introduced a set of standardised rules for the game of cricket. So for example, in 1744, there was the new article of game of cricket, and also the new laws of cricket, which actually set out the size of the wickets, the actual size of the boundaries, and obviously from now until then it shows an improvement that they've actually brought a ring in now for the actual fielders. Strength in terms of fitness components was his coordination. This was a strength of the performer, because in terms of his shot selection and the shots that he did play, like the leg side flick, the back foot punch, the front foot defence, all of coordination was needed in terms of the hands being in place, the leg movements, and actually using them simultaneously to get in decent positions to find scoring opportunities. So the coordination of the shots were very good. Weakness tactically was of the performer was that in the clip the fielders that were at mid on and mid off, they were actually wide, so they were more towards, so mid off was more towards cover area and mid on was more towards mid wicket area. So because of this, he had an opportunity from his front foot drive, which he was lacking in. He could have had an opportunity, scoring opportunity, to hit the ball straight. So because that gap was quite wide, so he had an opportunity to do that, which he didn't really do. And this was a good opportunity for him, because there was quite a lot of full length deliveries. But instead he was trying to hit through more towards cover area where it was packed with fielders. So the flow of runs was stopping, and the ticking of the scoreboard was reduced, and the scoring opportunities. This could be due to, could relate to social facilitation, or social inhibition, more towards social inhibition. This because there was actual slips in place, so actual fielders, the slips giving him sledging and talking to him, things like that, reminding him of the actual front foot drive, which he has been lacking with. This could suggest that he wasn't very confident, and his actual confidence lacked within that particular shot. So he had social inhibition, and therefore adopted avoidance behaviour, where once he played a few shots of the front foot defence and knew he was lacking, he avoided that actual particular shot and moved to other scoring opportunities. So that was a weakness tactically for him. So from that, I've picked out a priority weakness for the performer. This is the front foot drive. This because when he was actually playing the front foot drive, like I said before, he was getting in line with the ball, but he was actually squaring up. This was due to the fact of his front elbow coming through, but then going towards mid wicket area. So this actually squared him up, and could mean that he could edge the ball. Instead, what the actual coaching points are for a good front foot drive, a good technical front foot drive, is that the actual foot of the ball, the knee and the head all have to be in line. What this does is it means it naturally brings your weight over to the ball as well. So your head should be over the ball, and because your head is over the ball, it means that you're going to play the ball along the ground, as opposed to being in the air, and therefore a catching opportunity being produced. And also the front elbow has to point towards where the ball is. So as the bowler was bowling in and bowling towards off stick, the elbow for the performer was around middle wicket, causing him to square up, whereas the elbow should be in line of where the ball is actually coming down on the pitch. And also, finally, for the coaching points of that, it should have a nice high back lift. What this does is, it should create a good momentum of bat speed through the shot, to making sure that you get a clean contact on the ball, and making sure that the hands are in line with that back lift. So from that priority weakness, I've actually created an action plan. So the actual aim of the action plan is to improve the clean contact of the strike of the ball, and to improve the front elbow, to stop the performer squaring up. So from this action plan, it's going to be a 6-week action plan. It's going to be 2 times per week, and it's going to be a 30-minute session each one. In each actual drill of the 6 weeks, I'm going to introduce a warm-up and a cool-down, which is very important. So for the warm-up and cool-downs, they're going to include elements of dynamic stretching, so making sure that you are moving about while stretching, along with static stretching. So making sure that you get the best of both elements. So from static stretching, you're really stretching the muscles, but then from dynamic movements, what this does is it increases the flexibility of the muscles. It actually also increases the speed and the force of the contraction of the muscles, and it increases the body temperature, so it gets you ready for performance. With the cool down, it'll just be light jogs, bringing that temperature down after performance, bringing the heart rate down. And what this does is, for the cool down, it reduces risk of muscle soreness, and also from a cool down there'd be fast removal of lactic acid and carbon dioxide from muscle tissue, so it stops injuries reoccurring and being created. So from the action plan, the first drill is going to be a stationary drill. Just before the actual drills, there's going to be tests involved. The tests are going to be applied in drill 1, which I'll explain in a minute, at drill 5 and drill 6, which I'll explain through the actual action plan. So at drill 1, it's going to be a stationary drill, where there's going to be an actual cone which you can put the ball on, and what's going to happen is the batsman's just going to be putting the foot next to the line of the ball, and there's going to be 3 different balls. So there's going to be a ball towards mid-off, a ball towards straight shot, and a ball towards mid-on. So the bowler, when I shout, say mid-off, the bowler has to put his foot next to the ball of mid-off ball, and then has to play the front foot drive into cones which are placed. So the cones are going to be with about a 5 metre gap at mid-off, straight and mid-on, and as the batsman tries to hit the ball, he has to try and hit the ball through the cones. If he gets the ball through the cones, he gets a point. If not, he doesn't get anything at all. So from this, the test is going to be at drill 1. So it's going to be a hitting the ball test. So it's just going to be 20 goes at this. He's just going to try and hit the ball through the cones and see how many points he can get out of 20. That's going to be the test, and then we'll progress the test throughout the drills. From the coaching points of that first drill, the most important things are that the foot needs to be in line with where I'm actually saying which ball he needs to place the foot next to. So if I say mid-off, he can't have his foot towards straight, because if he has his foot towards straight, it means that he's going to be having a gap between bat and pad. So that's very important, and making sure that he has a high back lift, his head's in line, and more importantly what we're working on is that elbow is pointing towards the direction of where I actually shout to where I want him to hit the ball. So that makes sure that he hits the ball nice and straight along the ground to where he wants to hit. Then this will be progressed onto another drill, which is going to be the use of the performer doing his own feed. So what I mean by this is that he's actually going to have the ball placed under his neck, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to still have the cones placed at the same areas, mid-on, straight and mid-off, but he's going to have the ball under his neck, and then when I shout drive, he's going to actually get in a drive position of which one I actually shout to. So say if I say off drive, he's going to get in an off drive position to face himself, and he's going to drop the ball from his neck, and what that does is it means that when he drops the ball, he's going to actually drop the ball next to his foot, so everything's going to be in line, and then he's just going to make sure that he keeps that front elbow pointing upwards, and he's got to have a high back lift, but make that drill creates the foot, the knee and the head all being in line automatically, so it gets him in the groove of playing shots. So this can relate to social facilitation, where the performance can be enhanced due to the skills being grooved well, and the flow of the shots being played correctly, so you can get in the habit of that. This could be due to like the co-actors of me telling him that he's doing well, so this could be due to feedback as well, through positive feedback and letting him know that he's playing a shot well, so this will improve the performance. Within this actual shot, I'm going to use the whole practice method. This type of method is going to be used where I actually watch him play the skill from that feed, and then I'll actually identify the weak areas of that shot. So when he actually drops the feed, if he's in line, then that's a good area. But if he's actually playing a shot where his bat isn't coming down straight and his elbow is coming across, so he's still squaring up, then that's the weak area that I've identified. Then that's what he'll actually work on the next drill, and then he'll actually put it back into the full skill of a front foot drive. So that's the whole practice. So moving on to the next drill, it'll be a throw feed. This could be starting an underarm feed where standing halfway of the wicket, doing an underarm feed towards the batsman. This time though, to vary the practice, what I'll actually do is I'll have different coloured balls. So I'll have a yellow, a blue and a red ball, and then I'll have actually cones which relate to them coloured balls, so the same colours. So when I actually feed the ball underarm towards him, he'll actually look at the ball, see what colour it is, and then he'll have to think himself where he actually has to play the shot. So it makes him thinking of where he actually needs to play the front foot drive. And then this will be progressed onto the overarm feed. So the ball will be a lot quicker at the batsman, so the batsman will have to get in a quicker position, and as it's getting quicker, it means that the batsman, the technical coaching points for this, it means the batsman will have to be a lot more balanced and a lot more stable in his positions. So as getting into the front foot drive, to be balanced and stable, you need your feet shoulder width apart, and then also you need your head still, so your head's not coming up, and that also your back is not arching. So if your back is arching, it means that you're getting the ball in the air. So if you have a stable position, it means that your back arches over the ball and not away from the ball. So that's a stable position. The next drill would be, from that, what we'd do in the next drill, we'd actually refer back to the drill before, so we can relate to it. So we'd do 10 minutes of the overarm feed again to get him used to it again, and then we progress it even more from the sidearm feed, what you call a sidearm feed. Basically this is like it's like a plastic stick, and what you do is you can stick the ball on the end of it, and what it does is it creates the reality of what the actual bowling would be in a match. So this sidearm, it actually flings the ball out. So what I'd do is I'd actually fling the ball out to the batsman to play the front foot drive, but I'd actually vary the lines this time. So rather than actually putting the ball in the same spot this time, it's actually making the batsman think of where they actually need to position their foot in terms of leg stick, middle stick and off stick. I do it more so outside off stick, because in the actual clip I noticed that outside off stick, this is where he actually tended to square up. So putting more focus on putting the ball outside off stick. With this, I challenge the performer even further to improve that speed and agility that he lacked. so from playing the front foot drive, depending on what he thinks is whether it's a single or 2 runs or 3 runs, he'd have to run. So he'd have to actually call out himself how many runs he think he scored from that shot. So from the sidearm to the shot, how many runs he actually thought he scored. So if he hits the ball and he feels that he got a nice clean contact on the ball and he pierced the gap through the field and got 2 runs, he'd actually call 2 runs and he'd have to run 2 runs there and back from the wickets. What this does is it brings in the fast twitch muscle fibres. There's 2 types of fast twitch muscle fibres. There's fast oxidative glycolytic, which is type 2A, and there's fast glycolytic, which is type 2B. The actual functional characteristics of the fast twitch muscle fibres, which the batsman will be using for singles and 2 runs, is that there'll be a lot of contraction with a lot of force, and the muscles will fatigue quickly compared to slow twitch muscle fibres. So that'll be done for that drill and that'll be put in place. Then from this, I'd use a bowling machine. So from this drill, another test would come in. So it'd be the same test again from drill 1 where it's hitting the ball test, but this time it's on an actual bowling machine. So he's actually progressed from just stationary to the bowling machine, and again he'd have to hit the ball through the cones, so it's the same test, so it's valid. You'd have to hit the ball through the cones out of 20 and see whether he's actually improved. So say if he got on the last test, he got 8 out of 20, let's see if he get from this test, see if he improved from that or whether he hasn't. And if he hasn't actually improved from that test, we'd actually refer back to the previous drills until the skills are actually performed correctly and he feels confident. So on this drill on the bowling machine, this relates to the technological advancements that have improved within cricket. This is because this is in terms of the equipment. So the equipment in modern day cricket today is the bowling machine. So what this does is it actually can set speeds for different types of bowlers. It can set different kinds of spin, and what the actual bowling machine can do, it can actually set a range of line and length of where you can actually put the ball. So this is a good technological advancement for the batsman, as they can repeat the same drill over and over again from the ball being put in the same spot. Also, equipment being improved is the actual bats. This in modern day cricket, the bats are a lot more thicker now. So this means heavier and cleaner contacts. The bat movement and the bat speed is a lot faster now because of the heavier bats, and it just means a more clean contact with the ball. Also, in terms of kit, the technological advancements have improved, where the kit's a lot more dynamic now. What I mean by that, it's a lot lighter material. This is because when playing in hot weather and things like that, it actually helps batsmen to perform better. This can relate to like helmets as well. So the helmets have improved compared to when we actually didn't have helmets. The helmets actually have padding and things like that. So this is just protection for the batsman, and also the footwear, where spikes have been introduced. Spikes are the actual spikes. The footwear is a lot lighter. So you can actually have 2 types. You can have bowling or batting. So in this case, the batting spikes, depending on the type of wicket and the wicket seen in that clip, it looked a bit grass on the wicket. So he'd use thicker and longer studs. What this does is when he's actually running, it stops him from slipping, and when he's playing shots, it means he can actually focus on his shots and not slide with his foot or anything like that. So that's the actual technical advancements of the modern day cricket. So from the bowling machine, doing that test, if he has actually improved, I'd actually make it hard for him then on the bowling machine. I'd actually introduce swing on the bowling machine. So what this does is, it's not just a straight ball. You can either do outswing or inswing. In this particular case, I'd use outswing. This is because again, like I said before, around third and fourth stump he looked a bit vulnerable, so you'd focus more on that, and what he'd do is he'd actually play the outswing, he'd be playing shots through mid-off. What this does is it means that he knows if it's an outswing, he can play more towards straight and mid-off, and he doesn't need to be playing towards mid-on, because when he was playing before, when he was squaring on, he was trying to be playing towards mid-on. So what this does is it brings him back to where he needs to play the ball, and if he's playing it well, this can relate to self-efficacy, which is a type of self-confidence. So if the batsman is playing a good drive and he knows that he's getting it through the code, he won't adopt the avoidance behaviour because he knows that he's playing the skill well. Then I'd move on to my final drill, which is would just be a game situation. So actually stick the performer in the game situation. Again, this would be there'd be a final test in this drill, which would be the use of video analysis. What this does is video analysis would be really good for this particular skill, because it can identify where the actual weaknesses are in terms of the technical front drive. So I can actually focus on his actual front elbow, which we're trying to improve, and see whether his head and his hands are in line, and whether, if that front elbow is pointing to the direction of where he wants to hit, that there's going to be actual clean contact on the ball. And on the video analysis, if he's actually having clean contact, his bat won't actually twist in his hands, so the ball won't divert off to other places like cover area or mid-wicket. It shows that he's playing in the V area. So the game situation would be that, and every time in the game situation he hits a ball through the V area, which I mean by that is mid-on, straight and mid-off, he'd get 2 points for the front foot drives. If he actually plays a shot that actually where he doesn't get clean contact and it diverts, he'd get -1 point. And then at the end of the match, we'd come back, analyse, see on the video analysis what he needs to work on, and whether he's had clean contact, and then add up the points and see how he's actually done on that, and then see where the actual improvement needs to be, whether it is the actual clean contact still, or whether it's the actual high elbow which is causing the direction of the ball, of where it's going. And that's it.
Thank you, Mike. Well done.